When you see a truck rolling down the highway, it's easy to picture the driver, mic in hand, talking on a CB radio. It's such an iconic piece of technology, right? But for a whole community of enthusiasts, what comes out of the box? That's not the endpoint. Oh no, that's just the starting line.
I mean, that's the standard limit, isn't it? 40 channels? But what if I told you there's this whole hidden world operating just outside those official lines? A place where people are chatting on hundreds of channels with massively boosted power. Well, there is, and it's all thanks to the incredible art of CB radio hacking.
So, we're diving into a subculture that treats a radio's circuitry kind of like a performance tuner treats a car engine, or, how a hacker jailbreaks a smartphone. It's all about unlocking the potential that the manufacturer and, the regulators wanted to keep locked away.
And look, this is not about just tweaking a knob, not at all. This is a hands-on, really technical pursuit. For this community of hobbyists and hackers, the whole game is to push the hardware to its absolute physical limits, transforming a pretty simple communication device into something way more powerful.
So you gotta ask, what's the real motivation here? I mean, why would you risk damaging your gear or even breaking the rules? Well, it really just boils down to two things: a quest for more power and a deep desire for greater range. They want their signal to go farther and come in clearer than anybody else's. It's a competition.
And the results? They are absolutely staggering. A standard, off-the-shelf CB radio is legally capped at 4 watts of power and 40 channels. Okay, but a modified radio? Whoa. It can jump to over 50, maybe even 100 watts, and unlock more than 6 times the number of channels. This is all about breaking free from the rules, both the legal ones and the technical ones, to create a kind of super radio.
Okay, so let's go inside the machine. Now, just to be clear, this is not a how-to guide, but it's an exploration of what these modifications actually look like. And let me tell you, it's a world of circuit boards, soldering irons, and some very, very specific, almost cryptic instructions.
Just take a look at these instructions for a Galaxy 44V, pulled straight from a modding guide. This shows you just how physical and direct the whole process is. It's not software, it's cracking open the case, finding the right wire, and snip. Just like that. In a few simple, hands-on steps, a 40-channel radio suddenly expands to 320 channels. Incredible. And this is the language of the modder. Seriously, when you read through these guides, it feels like you're trying to decipher secret documents. Each one of those little codes corresponds to a specific component on a circuit board, a resistor you need to remove, a diode you need to cut, that unlocks a whole new level of performance.
The sheer scale of this knowledge base is just unbelievable. This little table here, it shows just a handful of mods for popular Cobra radios, but this is a tiny, tiny fraction of what's out there. There are hundreds of these modifications documented online, each one specific to the make and model, all passed down through the community. But all this power, it comes with a risk. So let's look at a real-world example to see how this all plays out. This is where the world of high-powered mods meets the cold, hard reality of electronics repair. And we get to see what happens when one of these legendary radios finally gives up the ghost. So meet the Superstar 7000DX. This thing was an absolute beast of a radio back in the 90s, famous for its potential. Specs from back then show it could be pushed to 50 watts on AM and a ridiculous 150 watts on sideband. It was basically born to be modified. That was the immediate assessment from a technician looking at a broken 7000DX in a repair video. Right away, he could tell he wasn't looking at a factory stock machine. Nope, someone had been inside this thing before, and the evidence, well, it was everywhere.
So as he dug deeper, the story got a little darker. The main power transistor, it had been replaced. The soldering was clumsy, or as he put it, it was done in that way. He found melted plastic on components, scorch marks from way too much heat, and even a bunch of mismatched screws. This was definitely not the work of a careful expert.
And then, when the technician removed the power amplifier, he found the smoking gun. Thermal paste, which is absolutely essential for pulling heat away from powerful components, was pretty much gone. This one critical mistake meant the radio was literally cooking itself to death.
But the fatal blow, that was something else entirely. The key transistors, we're talking the very heart of the radio's power output, they weren't just replaced. They were replaced with counterfeit Chinese copies. These fake parts are a huge problem when you're trying to find vintage components, and they simply couldn't produce the power the radio was designed for.
And that was the final verdict. Between the damage from the shoddy repair job, the aging components, and the counterfeit parts that needed replacing, the cost of a proper fix was just way too high. It was actually more practical to just buy a brand new modern radio than to try and save this classic. A sad end.
This whole case study really highlights the very real risks that are involved here, and that's something the modding community is keenly aware of. You'll find disclaimers and warnings just scattered all throughout their shared guides and their forums.
And this right here, this quote from one of the modding guides, it just perfectly illustrates the ethos of the entire subculture. It says it all. It's a world built on openly sharing really powerful knowledge, but with this clear, unspoken rule that you're on your own. You accept the risk and you own the consequences, period.
So it kind of leaves you wondering, right? In an age of sealed devices and software-defined everything, the hands-on world of the CB modder can almost seem like a relic from another time. But that spirit, the spirit of pushing limits and unlocking hidden potential, that's definitely alive and well. It might just be operating on a different frequency now.